talks about the times and the seasons. And right here in this verse, right here on the first page, it said, "And when he approached, he saw the city, and he wept over it." So everybody know who that was weeping, right? Two words: Jesus wept. Yeah, because everything was in such bad shape. You know. So, um, with me, I know that there's a new season, and I'm not really understanding completely where I'm going. Um, I wanted to go away, but I might not be going away. So the prophets are speaking, those two sitting on the front, and they say, go see your kids and come back. So that might be what happens. I don't know. But in this new season, um, I wrote a book. And what he's been telling about me writing this book is when I first met Apostle Rosa. Can I go there? You go ahead. Okay. Um, I had never heard the voice of God before, but I began to hear the voice of God. So I found Apostle Eckhart on 92.3 in the 80s, and he was talking about deliverance and demons and stuff, right? And I was at this church where you could do anything and be saved. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to stay, because it was close to home, da da da. I had my reasons for staying. And so the last Sunday I went to this church, I used to sing in the choir. So I'm sitting there with my robe on, and these dynamics started happening. I'd look out like that and look like the people were that big. But when I would look up, in the choir stand, we were all the same size. And I said, what's going on up in here? All of a sudden, it sounded real audible to me. This voice said, get up and get out of here. I said, what? And it was so demanding. I was like, so I brought an old lady to church with me that I take care of, because I used to do a lot of elderly care. And I went and told my son, I said, son, I got to go. I said, here's some money to bring Miss Chris home in the cab, And everybody was like, where you going? I said, I got to go. Because I had never heard his voice like that before, but I knew it was him, you know what I'm saying? And I was in Chicago, you can ride the bus on Sunday, and I was making it to the bus stop, and I was going, what, And I got home, and I went into the bedroom. And that day, in the bedroom, he just started answering a lot of questions that I had, And he had me to turn to Ezekiel, I think it was 13 or 14. And it says, son of man, prophesy against the prophets. I'm like, well, what is that? And then as I read down, he said, they're building the temples with untempered mortar. And then he said this. He asked this question, who has daubed it? I said, well, now I got to go get Webster, because I don't know what daub means. It means to sugarcoat it, And he went on to tell me all of this stuff. And he said to me that day, it's 87, Palm Sunday of 87. He wanted me to remember that date. And he said, when I give you something to say, he said, I don't want you to sugarcoat it. Now, it's 87. I'm just trying to sink all this in. He telling me, you had that experience. I'm like, this is deep, right? So then the next voice that came said, I want you to go to Aurora. I'm like, what? I'm not going out there. My sister had got married and came out here in the 80s, and she said, Diane, you got to move to Aurora. I told her, yeah, I'm not moving to that town. Because, I was a city girl. And out here didn't impress me. It was suburban, And I was like, I ain't moving out there. 10 more years passed by. And my daughter moved out here with my grandkids. And I came on out here. But this beautiful lady here, we were Crusaders together. And she used to sit on the thing. And I would look at her. She would be so pretty on Sunday. She wore big hats then. And she would look so cute sitting there beside Apostle Buford. But I didn't ever think that I would meet her. But when he sent me out here, that's when we're connected. But, yeah, he sent me here, and I did not want to come. I fought and I fought and I fought. So the way I came out here was very, very hard because of my fighting. I came here at 1 a.m. in the morning, and the cab driver threw me out in the street. Yeah, and I went up to my daughter's building, and she had one of these computer doors or something, and I could not get in, so they made me had to walk, around and try to find me a phone, because there wasn't no cell phones, I don't think, at the time. If it was, I didn't have one. And I called her neighbor. I said, I'm out here, and I don't know where, all of this stuff. So they came and they finally, let me in. But I remember we came out here, Apostle Eckhart and the Crusader group, and we went to Apostle Rosa's house. And she had a big old barbecue that I didn't get none of because the men ate it up, but anyway. Um, so when we got there and stuff, everybody was going through the house praying because Apostle was getting ready to start his ministry, I think, there or whatever. And I wasn't invited, but all of a sudden here I am, right? What Brother Bob brought me. And so as they were praying, everybody was going in all kind of rooms of the house, and I was right there by her living room. And so I walked in the hallway, and he told me, he said, I want you to stay right here and pray. I said, okay, because I'm learning to hear his voice now. So I went in this hallway and I prayed, but I did not know I was going to end up staying with Apostle Rosa for 2 years. So that's how I got here. Yeah. And so then, I got an apartment. And the one word I want to talk about in Ecclesiastic is, it says, a time to rend. Rend means restoration. Everything got swept out of my life, right? I got here, and I finally got blessed with an apartment after 2 years. I'm telling my story because these are the restoration things that happened. And so, anyway, I got some furniture. It was an older kind of furniture. Well, I was happy, I had an apartment and I had furniture now and everything. But he kept saying, I'm going to bless you. So this particular Sunday, I went to church, and the first person I met was this sister at the door. And she told me, she said, I have a china cabinet for you and a table. No, she said, I forgot what she called it, but it wasn't a high china cabinet. It was one of them low things. And I said, I don't even like that. I said, but I'm going to take it, All this happened in one day, what I'm getting ready to tell you. So then this other lady came in. I had been out to see her baby. And I said, girl, that's sharp. I said, but I don't really like Hunter's green, but the furniture was pretty, And so she came in. All of this in one Sunday. She goes, that furniture you like? She said, I'm going to give it to you. I said, girl, quit playing. She said, no. I said, okay. The next thing that happened, this guy told me, say, the Lord told me to bless you with a bed because they knew I didn't have a mattress yet. And so I asked him how much could I spend. He said, about $80. So I found one for $400. But then after that, stuff just started pouring in my apartment. Look at Sherry, she did. She was with me on that one. It just started pouring in, and I would say, is it this color? Is it that color? And everything was just, all of a sudden, I was all the way put back together again, And these things start happening like every 2 years, so I'm not going to tell about the rest of them. But he put me back together, and I fought him, and I didn't want to come here, So I lost everything. Came with 2 pair of pants, 2 shirts, and a raggedy coat. Yeah, so he restored me in the area. So I've been restored like a cycle, like a cycle that happens every 10 years, just restoration and stuff. So now I live in this building where I've been restored again. We won't go into that story. But I understand that word "rend" for me, and that's the season. And I don't think it's just me. Y'all know y'all in a season, whatever your season is, And so he moved me to North Aurora. Now, from studying with different ministers, Mike Murdoch said, usually what your anointing is, your bookcase is usually full of it, right? My bookcase is full of warfare. That's what I learned from Apostle. It's right all there, too. Uh, he was a warrior, and I was a little afraid of him. And I wouldn't go to none of his classes when he would teach because I say he's too up there for me. I can't do this, What God intended for me to meet Apostle, and that's the way it went. But where I am now, my bookcase has different books. Like I have a book called Spiritual Jurisdiction, and you have to learn your jurisdiction and where you belong. You know what I'm saying? And so when I moved there, well, I didn't know. I still thought I was in Aurora. And then people start telling me because of the borderline, I'm in North Aurora. And he sent me to North Aurora. So I'm like, wow. So I'll say I'm not even in jurisdiction of Aurora anymore. But, I have such a heart for young women, and it was things that I desired to do, and they didn't happen, while I was younger. So I'm older now, and I'm living in senior citizen. I start telling myself, well, God, because I come out here when I was 40. Now I'm 62. And I'm like, God, And he said, Caleb was 80. He just kept saying it to me. And I said, well, I'm too old. And he kept saying, Caleb was 80. I said, okay. Yep. But when I got to North Aurora, I found out I was not in the same jurisdiction anymore, but doors started opening to minister to young women like I wanted it to happen. And I'm just going to read this real quick. Around the time when he transitioned me to North Aurora, T.D. Jakes preached this message, Where Do I Fit? And he started talking about the transition. Life can take a turn you never saw coming. Transitions are usually challenging. Due seasons is made by God a master and suddenly forces you to discover new skill sets. God resets you. He said, be ready to cry. That's true. The sound of birthing is the sound of crying. It's trauma. When your substance source changes, there will be weeping. To require a new skill, you will have to discover them. And I know that I've discovered my book. You will not discover them in comfort. Found out where you fit. You can be different as long as you fit. You can't lead where you don't fit. You will be a misfit. You don't fit. He said, unfinished business. God doesn't change his mind about your purpose. And I put women's ministry on the side. Your purpose doesn't change. The method may change, which was North Aurora. God will reset it if it's gotten out of track. He'll reroute it, redo it, recall it, redirect it to change the path of the direction. And he would change the course or direction. He said, hit destiny with everything you have. He said, find your destiny. Those who will try to put you in theirs, don't get in there. Stop letting people put you in places you don't fit. And I was doing that. I was trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Yep. But I got back here, and I was listening to a broadcast, and I kind of got rebuked on this broadcast. And in the broadcast, this pastor told me I needed to return here. I was like, what? I need to return there. So I told Shannon I'm going to be obedient, but I was crying and kicking, I was like, well, I got to return to New Heart, So when I got here, I told the Apostle, I don't know why I'm here. So anyway, I heard the Lord say, let him read your book. So he critiqued it for me, and he read it and everything like that. Then the first page of my book talks about you having an assignment. We all have assignments. You know, your assignment's different than mine, but we have assignments. And so he preached a message in here at some time or another. He went and dug me up a tape about my, walking into your assignment. And I said, oh, snap. So he did the book, and he critiqued it, changed some things around, put this here, put that there, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, because I knew I needed to let him read it. And, I didn't know if I was here to stay, to go, but I'm here. And so then he just began to give me things, because that's the way it was back in the day in 80, whatever it was, 89. And then he gave me this sheet, because he used to always make songs, warfare songs. You know what I'm saying? And the prophetic said I was a warrior. But I was a chicken. I ain't never even had a good fight. What do you mean I'm a warrior? But he gave me this sheet on angels. And I thought, yeah. Because he made a song, A Time of Rejoicing. And you remember that? I pray for the angels are coming down. He had many warfare songs. I would be in there cleaning the church on Highland, and O'Sullivan would be on the piano, and he'd run back in and say, play that again. And there come a song, yeah. And he always talked about the angels all the time. So he gave me the sheet when I got back. And it says, Jesus, the breaker goes before us. We decree every yoke of bondage is broken. We decree God is changing our times and our seasons. We decree a new Pentecost anointing us for supernatural acceleration. We decree the fivefold ministry will now activate and equip the saints for ministry. We decree we are passing through the gates to a new blessing and harvest. We decree, and we do, right? The birth of new kingdom of God moving on the earth. We decree the Holy Spirit is bringing order into the disorder of this world. We decree unbelievable inheritance is coming to us. We believe the cure for deadness. We decree the cure for deadness, resurrection. We decree break up, break out, break through, pass over, and possess. And that's where we're heading. And where I'm at, I've been there 8 years. And 8 is the number of new beginnings. This will be my 9th year this August. And I really don't want to stay there anymore, but there's 2 prophetess in this room. They've been telling me that I might not be going there, so I'm seeking God real hard because I don't like to be in the wrong place. I've been there before, you know what I'm saying? And I done got kicked out and sent places because I wasn't listening, But yeah, I'm glad to be back. If I'm to stay, I just been like bathing in this song by y'all know who I'm saying. I open up my heart. What's her name? Lord, show me how to do things your way. Yolanda Adams. I've just been playing it over and over again because I don't want to make the mistake and go somewhere that I'm not supposed to be, But I miss my kids. I haven't seen them in 16 years. Yeah, so everybody keeps saying, just go visit them and come back. Miss Renee. Yeah, but that's kind of about all I have. I don't know if anybody got anything from that. But we are in this season of this big breakthrough, and we know it's coming, Yeah, as my grandbaby Bridget said, I feel it. I smell it. She said, I smell it. I smell it. So, yeah, that's what I had to say. What was that? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm done. But you can cut everything. You gonna cut this camera off? Because I want to do something I probably ain't supposed to be on camera.
Okay, go ahead. She cut it off. Okay. She turned it off.
All right. Because of the warfare in me, I thought I'd do this. my tongues, when they gave them to me, they say they're warfare tongues. And I